G'day, Nate. Today you wanted to tell your audience about a brief history of your life as an artist, I guess.
Yeah, well, I decided, as I said in one of my other videos, my art and business talk, I decided when I was very young that all I wanted to do in my life was create, and that preferably I would make enough money to sustain myself off creativity so that I could just live a life of pure, ongoing creation. So I've always been very determined to create content, and I've been producing content for around 15 years. I'm 36 now. I'll be 37 in November. I started really creating properly when I was 20, when me and a couple of my mates formed my first project, a political rap band called Hadron C, very influenced by Rage Against the Machine and Midnight Oil and other political musos. And with Hadron C, we recorded two albums. One was called, we were originally Fall Down Blind Last Avenue, and then the second album was Hadron C Pre-Apocalyptic. So, and with those two albums, each album had 14 songs. We also filmed a series of music videos, several music videos for the first album, which that was when I was first learning how to work with videos, so they weren't the best videos. And then two major music videos for the second album, one of which I directed and edited. And I invested money. The other guys didn't want to invest money in the project, but I invested several $1,000s more over the years in Hadron C. So we did Hadron C from when I was about 20 till I was about 26. Then we released Hadron C, and after about 6 months of Hadron C being released, nobody was looking at it. Nobody was interested. We did a few gigs, and then I sort of just decided to move on. I ended up going to uni and starting to study communications at uni after I did Open Foundation. So I did Open Foundation to get into a communications degree. Then I did about a year of communications, and then I thought, you know what, because I've always been very business-minded and independent in my actions, I decided I'm going to defer and I'm going to try and set myself up as a content creator, and set up an independent business. And from I just want to step back a bit. In between, after Hadron C, I also briefly managed two DJs who were doing a variety of gigs around Newcastle, mostly house parties and stuff, and I filmed a collection of music videos for them, which I directed and edited at their gigs. And I managed their social media and did events photography at their gigs, and would put all those photos of their audience and crowd and those videos up on their Facebook page, and they paid me some $100 sometimes to do that, but really not as much as I should have been getting for the work I was doing. So anyway, I did Hadron C, then I managed the two DJs and did a series of music videos for them and did events photography. And at the same time as I managed the DJs, I was at uni studying Open Foundation to start a Bachelor of Communications. Then I went into the Bachelor of Communications. Then I left because I wanted to set myself up as an independent journalist, because I've always been really about free media, alternative media and independent media. I'm really into citizen journalism, where guys in their houses investigate and report, particularly on the behaviour of the state. So I've always been about independent guys in their living rooms creating media content and creating news from their unique perspective. So I went out and what I did, I started filming a documentary about buskers. That was going to be my first media project for my network, Sugar Free Information, I was going to call it, which is my email now. And for a few months, I filmed this documentary of people around Newcastle in the nightlife. It was about buskers, and I was interviewing punters out drinking and having fun in the nightlife, and I interviewed a few buskers. Then I met one busker in particular, and he offered to help with the documentary, so we got working together, and he helped me go around and introduce me to a few of the other buskers he knew, and slowly I was collecting these interviews with all these buskers and with people in the street out drinking and having fun. This was at night. So I filmed all these interviews, and then anyway, I suggested to him, there was at the time an arts service called Renew Newcastle, who would provide artistic spaces and studios to creators to work out of. So I suggested to him, why don't we see if Renew Newcastle has any applications for a studio space, because he had all this equipment for recording and we thought we could start a professional studio. Anyway, Renew Newcastle had a round of applications open, so we applied for the Renew Newcastle space and we went through the rigmarole and we got a meeting with the managing director of Renew Newcastle and then another meeting, and then eventually he approved us to enter into a space in Hunter Street Mall. So what Renew Newcastle did was they took unused commercial properties and gave them to artists at a discount rate. I paid $30 a week for our Renew Newcastle space. The other guy never paid any money for it. Nobody else ever seems to pay for anything but me. It's really frustrating. So we were in the Renew Newcastle space for about 6 to 8 months, working on the documentary, and we also took a few creative clients. We had one guy who wanted us to edit a documentary he had filmed, and we had another guy who wanted to run gigs and stuff, and we ran a couple of gigs with him at local venues, and we did a whole range of stuff. But for about 6 months, we were in the Renew Newcastle space, and I was documenting the nightlife of Newcastle and buskers around Newcastle. And we took part in the This Is Not Art Festival, formerly as members of Renew Newcastle, which was really exciting for me. Renew Newcastle doesn't operate anymore, which I think is a great loss to Newcastle's art community. But anyway, after about 6 to 8 months, as I remember it was, we found out that the commercial lease on the property had sold, so we were all asked to move out. So that had to come to an end. And then I had a disagreement with my associate at the time, and he ended up losing all my footage and deleting my documentary, which was incredibly frustrating for me because I'd worked for nearly 2 years on this documentary. So those videos of the nightlife footage that I filmed are still available under Pump House Pro on YouTube, and the Pump House Pro Facebook page still exists as well. And you can go to those channels and view some of my interviews with buskers around Newcastle and some of the footage I collected and interviews with people enjoying the Newcastle nightlife. Anyway, after that all fell apart with Renew Newcastle and I lost the documentary, I then started writing. I decided I was really going to focus on being a writer. And then I started writing a blog called Modern Culture Network, which was supposed to be my vision for the future of the world and modern culture and how I wanted it to be. And I must have written nearly 100 thought pieces on Modern Culture Network, which is still on Facebook, and you can still go and read those things. And I also did extensive reporting because I want to be a citizen journalist, right? I did extensive reporting on the CIA's Freedom of Information releases, and I catalogued and described information in documents released under the American Freedom of Information Act. And I wrote Modern Culture Network for about 3 years, and at the same time this is around when I started to come on board with Reliability to do creativity with Reliability, the art service I'm now with. And then through Reliability, I was given a mentor to assist me because I was just starting my first novel. So then I started chipping away at my first novel, which took about 2 years. Anyway, my Facebook account got maliciously hacked by someone because I was saying really controversial stuff on Facebook, lots of really controversial stuff, and someone aggressively hacked into my Facebook account and locked me out of it and then deleted my Facebook account. I think I must have said something to piss them off. So I lost access to Modern Culture Network, Pump House Pro and Hadron C's Facebook pages, so I abandoned Modern Culture Network, which was incredibly frustrating because I had a lot going on there with that. And then, but anyway, by that time I had nearly finished my first novel, Kings of the New Age, The Quest of the Balancing Stones, and I was working on other animations and stuff with Reliability. So I let go of the fact that I lost my blog to that hacker and I moved on. And anyway, not long after that, I self-published my debut novel, Kings of the New Age, The Quest of the Balancing Stones, which is where I'm at now. And I've now sold 510 copies of Kings of the New Age, The Quest of the Balancing Stones. I've been interviewed through several media outlets for my popular novel, which is popular in Newcastle, and people have come back and told me that they really like it and that they think it's fantastic. So that's where I am now, and I'm working with Reliability on animations, and I'm not the best drawer, but I'm getting better, and I'd like to get better at drawing and also do some painting and all this great creativity through reliability, which is a fantastic NDIS art service. And yeah, so that's my career as an artist over the last 15 years. Hadron C, producing music videos for the 2 DJs I worked with, producing a documentary on busking in the nightlife, then writing a blog for a couple of years, which was popular and read by a few people as well, and now having written my debut novel, and sold 500 copies of my debut novel, and also working on other creative projects with reliability. So that's where I'm up to now. And now I'm fully immersed in all the creativity that is happening at Reliability. And, I've got access to this fantastic studio space with all this equipment, which Reliability owns. And there's support workers and experts in creativity to help me achieve my creative goals. So that's where we are now. So I've pretty much stuck it out. I'm 36 now. I haven't made millions of dollars yet. I haven't made lots of money, and I haven't become a rock star or anything, but I've decided I'm just going to keep working professionally in the arts sector for the rest of my life. I don't want to do anything else, and I basically refuse to do anything else. So, follow me. I'm the most motivated artist you'll ever meet. So give it a like and a subscribe and a share, guys.